I know. I should just go for hours and hours and hours, and I think you'd still be hanging out for hours and hours and hours and doing that piece. I do have plans for more live events of different kinds. It's really a physics problem at this point. We talked about that earlier. What is it with the sound cutting in and out? I don't understand. Well, the sound here is great. I'm watching the TriCaster. It looks fine. Let's look at what YouTube has to say. And YouTube, indeed, probably can't see this very well on here, so I'll move this. YouTube says, back at 12:49, they're not complaining of any problems right now. The health is good. But I will tell you that I preload all of my YouTube information. I get the YouTube live stream information has to be configured beforehand, and then I configure the TriCaster here with the proper stream information, and then I click a button and the stream starts. I start on the TriCaster and then I start on YouTube. Well, today I started on the TriCaster. YouTube said it looked great. I started on YouTube and YouTube said, I can't do that. What are you talking about? I can't start anything. That's not working. So I had to nuke the one on YouTube, recreate it, and then do the process again. It finally worked. So I'm not sure what's going on with YouTube today. It was a little bit weird. I have a dedicated connection. It is a business class cable modem connection. There's nothing else running on it but this. I have a completely different connection for the rest of my home, which is where this studio is. It's just a room with stuff in it. Where's my picture? The room with stuff in it. So there's something completely different. The mnemonic device for laser printers was last month. So that was a list of the things we did last month that you can go watch. That's what that was. So yeah, we didn't answer any of those questions I put up. What's up with that? Yeah, that was last month. You can go watch that's why I put them up, to tell you could go watch that one. The questions about the mic. The mic is a Heil, Heil PR40. It's a great mic. It's very directional, so I can come off the mic. So I could have all kinds of things going in the background. I really made it because I didn't know what the sound would be like. But the reality is I have two 19-inch racks that are to the left and right of me that are quiet racks. They have all my equipment, and the fans are going, and there's things in there. You can't hear a thing out here. Even without this mic, which is a nice directional mic, you can't hear a thing with that. So that worked out great. These headphones are really, are they Shure? Here's my case. Which ones did I end up getting? They're the Shure. I don't even remember which model they were. Let's find out. That's why I go to Amazon, so I can remember the exact models. It's just a really relatively inexpensive Shure in-ear headphone that I got because it felt good in my ear. And it something that didn't cost a lot of money. I'm doing audio, so I'm not doing music, so I don't need a lot of dynamic range in my headphone. I just need to be able for it to hear things. So it's a nice clear. It is the Shure SE215-CL for clear, I'm sure. 215, the SE215. So it's a relatively inexpensive. It's how much is this headphone? If you were to buy it today, $99. So this is much less expensive than the big headphones I use. Normally I'm using, when I'm not on a live stream, I use a much more comfortable Sennheiser HD 380 Pro. So these are like $200 or $300 headphones. These are really expensive, but they're like butter. They're just so soft, and they get rid of all the noise from the outside, and they are completely flat. There's no bass boost. There's no treble boost. They are flat, which is important for me. Again, I'm not doing a lot of music. Even if I was, it would still be important to have that in there. The keyboard that's in the middle there's a lot going on here for those of you that haven't followed this thing before. So let's do a quick tour, shall we? Let's get things out of the way. So there's a lot. I can take myself out of the way of this. There's a lot going on in this studio. It starts with the audio. The audio is the most important part of what I do. There is nothing more important than the audio, which is kind of odd since everything I do is video based. Everything starts and ends with the audio. So this is a system called Radius from Axia, AXIA. It is an IP-based mixer, audio mixer. I used to have just analog mixers, and those are fine too. But I've got my television, I've got a post processor plugged into this, my microphone, my laptop computer, and my iMac computer that's here. So everything that I have in here that has anything to do with audio comes into this unit. And at that point, this is really a Linux box. At that point, the real hardware that does the work is in a rack that's underneath this. You can kind of see the flashing lights that are there. So there's a rack. There we go. So inside of my desk is a 19-inch rack down here on both sides. And I have the head end that's doing all the work is for that. It takes all the audio in and converts it to IP packets, and then I can do whatever I want with it. So it's able to do mixing, all my phone information that's coming in. It automatically does what we call a mix minus. In the audio world, that means that I'm not sending back out what I'm receiving. It would be really odd if you were on the phone and every time you talked, you'd hear an echo back of what you said. So your mixer has to be able to mix out what you're saying and only send back what I'm saying. So it does that automatically, which is it's one of the hardest things to do with analog mixers. And here you don't even tell it. It just does it. You say, that's a phone. Okay, I'll do mix minus on it. And so I have it's so close because I'm able to adjust up and down the audio of the caller when they're there. Because there's a lot of background noise. I'll just pot them down with the potentiometer. That's the pot. And pot them back up. There's not really a pot involved here. It's really sending a signal back to the Linux box under here to make the volume higher and lower. Anyway, that's an amazing piece of technology. It's one of the best investments we've made here in the studio. This is the console. This is a separate monitor screen that's just a 17-inch display that displays the video mixer, which is the TriCaster. And TriCaster is the piece that takes all of the video from everywhere. It looks like this. That's what the pretty color display is the control console for this. It looks like this on that console. So I'm able to plug in 4 high-definition video feeds from devices like my computer console. I'm able to plug in other graphics and other things to lay on here. I really don't even use them. I've got some layered views. I could do like this, where I've got picture to picture that I just don't use. I haven't used them yet. So I could do lower thirds and a lot of other pieces there as well. It is costly, but that's another great investment. But it also does the streaming. So it's one place. It is recording this information. It is recording actually from every single video input and recording them all simultaneously. So if I wanted to take them as a separate input and edit them separately, I could do that. It also, in my case, is just storing the single output because I'm not doing a lot of fancy things during this. But when I do my recordings of the training videos, I record video from my display, video from my camera into separate streams, and then I edit them together. So that's one way to do it. Those two things together are I can't get anything better than those. I'm out of places to go with those pieces, so that's good. In front of me, this bigger display is. Before we go to that, I got these tiny little displays in front of me. They show me what I've got in a preview mode, which is on deck. These are the things that I would show, and then I've got one button that takes that video and shows me what's going to be in each one. I show what I could show next when I hit a button, and then what's currently live going out. So that's what that piece is. This is an iMac that I have in front of me with a separate display. So this is really the main computer that I'm using. You usually see the one in front of me to be able to do that. The one that's to the right is the display. It's the same computer, but just a separate display. You generally don't see that one on the feed. I sell the MP3s. If you have MP3s, there's no video to convert because you can't download them from YouTube because that would be a violation of YouTube's end user agreement. So I can't imagine that you're doing something like that because that would obviously be a violation of their user agreements. If you would like the MP3s, there have been some people that don't want to buy the video pieces, but they just want the MP3. So I've been thinking of just offering those for like $99. You could download all of them immediately. That might be something I work on this weekend. The cameras I'm using, I have a Canon camera. Which model specifically is it? This is part of the problem is that I use these as very dumb cameras. This is a Canon Vixia HF-G10. So I'm one generation behind with the HF-G10. But again, I don't need a lot with those. I have the previous generation is the one that's currently showing this bird in the sky view. That's one that is there. That really I just put there so I could have this kind of view, which is kind of nice. During the study group, I use this iPad because I'm able to integrate that with this MacBook that I have to the right. It has Keynote on it, which is the display. Here's what it looks like. So it has Keynote on the front of it. And then in my iPad, I'm able to control it and see what the next slide is. So while my slides were moving, I was simply going back and forth. And what you were seeing was the slides change on the screen as I was flipping things around. Here we go. I was just moving my finger right here, and it was going from bullet to bullet and slide to slide to slide. So I don't have to keep looking over there to be able to do that. It's a remote control to that piece. So that comes in handy when I'm working with those pieces. And that's it. I think it's all the individual pieces. There's obviously hard drive storage and a lot of other things under these pieces. The reason I got the Canons, well, first, they're relatively low cost. They are consumer cameras, really prosumer, but they're higher end of their consumer. They don't have the professional inputs and outputs that I use. So I have converters that convert to a video format called SDI. That goes into an SDI switcher, and then the SDI switcher takes the video and moves it to wherever I need it to go. The only thing I didn't mention was I've got a big monitor up in front of me that during the study group has the TriCaster control, but that TriCaster control I can switch to anything. It can be my outputs, my inputs. I can put up, and I'm just pulling the cable as well. So I can watch regular television, HD television on there if I wanted to, which I never do because I just don't watch any television because I'm doing this. So that's one of those things. The reason I chose the Canons is because they just look good. They give me what's called a clean HDMI output, which means I can plug in an external HDMI into those cameras, and it doesn't put any of the information on the screen, the heads-up display that shows you are you recording or not, the time left on your recording media, all of the little diagrams. I see them on my screen here. You probably can't see them. I see them on my little display, and I can see how it's handling colors and those types of things. But on your side, you see this clean image with no extra text on it. And that's the clean HDMI. That is an all-white Rubik's Cube. It's actually an electronics Rubik's Cube that if I had the 9-volt power supply for it, it has a battery inside of it, powers up, and it changes colors, and you use your finger to move the Rubik's Cube around. Because I have Rubik's Cubes that I'll just sit here and fiddle with that are real. I do have a life. I am here a lot. But I want this is a business endeavor, and I want this business endeavor to be successful. So I work a lot of it. I have a full-time job during the day, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. I have a wife and 3 kids and 2 dogs and a horse. So there's a lot going on outside of this room, but it helps that this is in my house so that I can simply step outside the room and have dinner with my family and help with homework and take kids to wherever they need to be taken or pick them up. There's a lot, but they've kind of gotten used to that. So, so dad's in there. Yeah, he's on a live stream. He's just talking to hundreds of people on the internet. He's just doing that. It takes me minutes. I'm not one of these people with a Rubik's Cube that I can do it in 10 seconds. It takes me a while, but I can do it. I go back to, okay, you got to go up and down and this around. It takes me 12 steps to get that. Mrs. Professor Messer used to be part of the, we used to do a podcast together called What a Week. And it's just time was the problem. Kids get bigger and they have things to do on the weekend. I'm working during the week. And this was really what we wanted to focus on. So we made a decision. We own a horse. We're in Tallahassee, Florida. We got a horse from Disney, a retired horse we adopted. It was Mulan's horse. It's a big black Percheron. I pay for his peanut hay. That's all I do. I don't do horse things. That's Mrs. Professor Messer. That's it. My job title is Chief Explainer. There's only one job here. So then it's me. I don't have any employees. So it's whatever I would like it to be. I know Mrs. Professor Messer is cool. I would bring her back if she would like to do something. I'm working on that. We're getting there. Hopefully, like I said, I have plans to do a lot more, but it's just about time. How much time do I have to be able to do these things? Right now, I'm restructuring the Security Plus course. Security Plus is not much changes. So I'm effectively using the same content, adding, don't have to create new content for that one, but there's a little bit of new stuff to be able to do that. No, during the week, my job is related to network security. It has nothing to do with really A+ Network Plus Security Plus. It's more on the higher end network security side. And I'm very careful to keep those separate. That's why I don't do higher end network security videos. So that's a reason I like to keep those completely divided. Security Plus, probably the closest I will get on the security side for that. The computer rack is on both sides are fixed to the desk. But the entire desk is on casters. This is a custom desk that I got from a group in Hollywood, California that builds desks for the large film companies to do editing. And I could have got it with a lot of other things on it, but I wanted one that was completely flat and big that had the racks built into it because there's just not a lot of room. But you can kind of see the back corners. There's a lot of extra room. I cleaned off the back corner that you can see in the camera, but normally I'm storing things and working on those things. And can I stay focused on my full-time job if I have my own business? So far, yeah, it's been working out that way. I set a divide it from 8 to 5 during the day. It's that position. And I'm fortunate enough that the job lends itself so that at the end of the day, I'm done with that. I can work on my own things. It doesn't have a weekend component. It doesn't have an after hours component. It's very, very focused on things during the normal workday. So I'm very fortunate. It worked out very nice to have that. That couldn't have happened with other positions that I've had throughout the years. This one just happened to work out that way. Yeah, the official order would probably, yes, indeed, be A+ Network Plus Security Plus. That's what CompTIA would like you to do. The usually what people do when they're working this through is in that order. As I mentioned, I started on Security Plus because I was working in security and they wanted me to get a security cert. So I started with Security Plus. And then I thought, well, I could do some videos on the Network Plus and the A+, and that's why I worked backwards into those pieces. Yeah, the A+ was the last CompTIA certification that I ended up getting, ironically enough, on those pieces. That's just how it worked out with those. I think the Blog Talk, still got 9 minutes left, 2 hours. The dial-in lines is another one that I have that 800 number for. That's money. When you're listening, it costs money when people every time. It's one of those things. I got a lot of different things. I started this, yes, I did everything on a PC running Sony Vegas was my primary editor. Windows, at that time, it was Windows XP, might be Windows Vista back at the time. And then moved up to Windows 7. But I ran into problems with Windows just updating itself and rebooting spontaneously, and I couldn't stop it. So I ended up moving to Apple to do everything, and it was a painful move because if you do video editing, there's a process. So it took a while to get that process going. Yeah, I don't know what's up with audio. Everything looks great on this side. Looks fantastic on this side. Very, very much of a challenge. But that's once I moved to Mac, I don't know, a couple years ago, 2 years ago or so, and just converted from, I'd moved to Adobe Premiere. I moved to Mac, and not only moved to Mac, moved away from Adobe Premiere and went to Final Cut Pro. So currently I'm using Final Cut Pro on the Mac OS 10 Mavericks and Final Cut Pro now currently at 10.1, the latest one. And fortunately, all of my video, I made all the video and audio systems to work with that. So Apple has some great codecs that they use to store the video for editing. And the Apple ProRes works really, really, really nice for the things that I do for my editing. And that's one of the big reasons I've been using it. I could do all of this on Windows and Premiere Pro. I could do it, sure. Yeah, there's no difference there. Linux, Unix, probably not, just because the software isn't there to be able to support the type of editing that I need to do with the codecs that I need to use. So that's why you probably don't see much of that. It's kind of a cart before the horse, chicken and egg problem, because until there's the codecs, nobody's going to use it. Nobody's going to use it because there aren't any codecs. And Mavericks works great. Mavericks is fine. I upgrade the operating system. It worked out of the box. It's running. Haven't really had a problem with it whatsoever. I was hoping for more control of video. I would like to be able to take both of these video feeds, which are one computer, and take this video feed, plug in a FireWire converter, and say, take anything on this screen and also mirror it out that video connection while leaving this a secondary display. I can't do that. I want to do that. So it's just one of those things. There may be some third-party software I need to find that can do something like that, but it would be very, very useful to me. Some Twitch faces, I have no idea what that means. You're referring to the Twitch service? I don't know what the faces would be. Or do you just want me to Twitch? I can do something like that. I suspect you mean twitch.tv. We talked about that last time. We talked about finding a streaming provider. A lot of people said, just use Twitch. The problem is there's still ads that you would see if I was on Twitch. And as you can see this week, YouTube has not been perfect. I would love to use someone else, and I've been looking at others, but that's an investment of another $400 to $800 a month just to do on-demand, anytime streaming, unless I go through third-party CDN, which is Content Delivery Network, and it has its own tweaks and challenges with getting that to work. So, currently YouTube's the best of the what we have to offer, and I think we'll just keep going through there. Windows 8.1 does have pretty good multi-monitor support. It doesn't really do what I need either. I'm finding that what I want is so unique that nobody's going to build in mirror one monitor but not the other. Maybe they are, but that's what I'm trying to get to, is something like that. That way I could do the editing. What I'm doing now when I'm showing you this screen, it's really showing you, this is in the full res that I'm running on my monitor, which is big. It's 2440 by something like that. It's big. And it's doing effectively a remote desktop. It's an IP connection to the TriCaster. So it's not crystal clear. It's a little better if I zoom up. It gets a lot better. And if I was running at a lower resolution, it would be a lot better. But it's very, very, very difficult to get a crystal clear or one that I'm happy with. I want it to be crystal clear. I'm a perfectionist. But if I plug in I have these adapters I use to convert from HDMI to SDI, which then goes into my video switcher and ultimately into the TriCaster. So it is really difficult I haven't found a way to plug in via FireWire and mirror that information out. So I'm getting there with that piece. Is that what I'm running? I'm running so big I don't even pay attention to the video that I'm running any longer. On my display, scaled, yes, I'm running 2560 by 1440. So you're correct, Robert Sandberg, who apparently knows more about my video than I do. Good for you. Normally when I'm recording videos, I'm recording at 720p. I probably want to up that to 1080p here eventually. So there's plans to do that as well. Those pieces are there too. Kickstarters I've considered. I'm kind of fortunate enough that I don't need to do a Kickstarter to get things going. I'm just getting that piece really, the videos pay for themselves. I put them on YouTube. The website's advertising. People buy the study guides. You guys have been fantastic about buying the study guides. That's been a huge relief on keeping things going. It's difficult to even explain without just showing all of the support I'm getting for the study guides. It's been great. Those pieces. I could use the cameras on the monitors themselves, but there's no good way to output them and get them into SDI, which then goes into the TriCaster. So it was really important for me, the optics and the flexibility of having the external camera was an important consideration when putting together this whole thing. I wanted to have the cameras that I could put anywhere, and that's going to be especially important later. For instance, and well, just one good example is I couldn't have this view if I had it stuck on my monitor. And I kind of like having the ability to give you a perspective of what's going on behind the camera, or what this looks like and that piece of it. So I have that in my head.
90 seconds.
Whenever I'm putting that piece together. So no more Blog Talk Radio. For those of you listening on there, that's going to drop out in about 90 seconds. We did have a 937 call in. So you got 90 seconds left. So less than 97.
I was just curious when your Network Plus study group is going to be.
Oh, good question. Why didn't I promote that? What was I thinking? It's next week at the same time. So ProfessorMesser.com/calendar is the Network Plus, and it will be next
60
Saturday.
seconds.
Next Saturday at 12 noon Eastern time, and we'll see you then. Thanks for asking.
Yes. And will you release a study guide for the Security Plus also, or no?
Security Plus for the study guides for Security Plus, Network Plus, and A Plus are all available right now on the website. You could buy them and get them in your hot little hands in moments.
Oh, okay, great. I didn't know you had one for Security Plus also.
It took me a while to get that one done, indeed. But yes, it is now available. It's like 26 pages. It's enormous, but it is available and only $10.
Oh, okay, great. I'll have to go look for that.
And I appreciate it. Thank you so much for calling.
Yes, you're welcome.
And there you go, 20 seconds on that piece. I'm going to pot that down so we don't have to listen into that piece anymore. I love having the dial-in, the call-in. I thought that was an important addition to that. To have. All right, everybody. My is going quickly. I've been really first function since last Friday. So we built our joining us. The group and tomorrow. I'll be much faster than I was last month, I promise. That part is pretty useful to have that there. Thanks for joining. We really wouldn't have this type of fun if you weren't here interactively and playing along and calling in. It's great to have you here. Hope to do a lot more of these. And for those of you that are going to be watching the Network Plus study group, we'll see you on a week from today. We'll do exactly the same thing on the Network Plus side with that study group. I haven't even started putting together the content. So if you wanted to register on that and be able to get all of the registrations to be able to send me questions, that's where you would do it at the ProfessorMesser.com/calendar. Well, thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining. I'll be in the chat room the rest of the day as well, resting my voice. You can always catch me there, too. We'll see you then. Thanks.